Hey guys, welcome back to BizCraft. Hope you're all doing well. We're back. We're back and it's Thursday. Not gonna lie, I did just record a whole video before this, but honestly, it's fine because I needed to do some editing anyway because I started yapping about things I didn't understand and I was like, whoa, I don't know what I'm talking about because today I want to talk about motivation and a bit about dopamine. I think it's very helpful. So all I did was that's what I did. I built a sheep farm, and that's about it. So we've got other farms to build, so it's fine. I want to put my seeds down that I've gained from different villages, stolen, should I say? So yeah, first things first is a really interesting thing. Let's just get straight into it. Let's just get into it. So a lot of people don't really know what motivation and dopamine are really about. Motivation, at the end of the day, is more of an enemy than a friend. It's more of a liar than anything. Motivation can sometimes tell you very simply and plainly, and just checking we're recording and the time is working and everything. Yeah, that everything's kind of going that you want to do something. So if you're motivated to do something meaningful, and you're like, I think I want to do this. I think I want to commit to this. That's awesome. But the problem is the motivation eventually goes away, and you'll never do it if you don't stick through it, despite the fact. Well, that was kind of rhymy. Despite the fact that you no longer have that motivation, right? So a lot of people know this. But my point is that's kind of the only thing that motivation is good for is is understanding what you're motivated for in the first place. But that's about it, really, in my opinion, because motivation just runs out. So you can't depend on it, and then when you depend on it, you're worse off than when you started, right? Because you'll just feel like I really don't want to do this, and I feel pressured to do it. So what do? Forget about motivation, do discipline instead. So what does discipline mean? Because people hear about discipline all the time, and it doesn't really help you. So I've got something that really will hopefully change the way you think about things. Because people talk about things in kind of hocus pocus, bro sciencey ways, which means in ways that aren't concrete. But I've got something very concrete that not a lot of people know about. So fairly new science, which is why not a lot of people know about it. It's fairly new in context of science, but I feel like this was something I heard on a podcast multiple years ago. I want to say something like 4 years ago. Basically, David Goggins went on a podcast with his friend Andrew Huberman. Andrew Huberman is a neuroscientist who teaches neuroscience at Stanford, but he also has the Huberman Lab podcast. Where should I put this? Somewhere civil, I feel like. The Huberman Lab podcast. And on the Huberman Lab podcast, he had David Goggins. And David Goggins, if you don't know, he's a guy that shouts at the camera and runs. He's an ultra marathon runner. He's a lot of things. He's an ex Navy SEAL. Did Hell Week in Navy SEALs like twice. He's now like a pararescue trooper, which is pretty awesome. And he's done all sorts of things. Had all sorts of crazy things happen to him. He's written 2 books, and they're both fantastic. And he's had crazy stuff happen in his life. Anyway, he went on this podcast as someone who is a practitioner in discipline, in a practitioner of doing hard things, not a theorist, not a bozo, not a guru. He's great, and I really like David Goggins. So I'm really glad he went on this podcast. Andrew Huberman saved a tidbit of science for David Goggins, for him to tell him about it when he got on the podcast, and when he got on the podcast, Andrew, I'm so bad at explaining things. Andrew Huberman told him, this is something very new science has found in human studies, so not mouse studies, in human studies, and it is that there's a part of the brain that science has found called the anterior midcingulate cortex, and the anterior midcingulate cortex only grows when you do things you don't want to do, and it's the seat of willpower. This is what like new science is saying, that it is the seat of willpower. So what does that mean? It means that if you do hard things, you will be better at doing hard things the next time, and you will continue to get better at doing hard things the more hard things you do. But not hard things. They have to be things that you don't want to do. So they have to be things you don't want to do. And if you do stuff that you don't want to do, then you will, what am I doing? Then that part of the brain grows. And then because that part of the brain grows, you then find it easier to do that thing next. To do that thing again, or any other hard things, right? What am I doing? Don't want to do that, don't want to do that. Gosh. I think I might have just broken that seed forever. Hey, buddy. So, it's larger in people who grow especially old. It's also larger in people who do things like ultra marathons, and for those people who it's larger in, like older people and people who do hard things like ultra marathons, they live especially long, right? Which is why old people have it. It's like a chicken and the egg situation. Yeah, so you don't have one without having the other. So that's pretty awesome. Then as well, in fat people, it's smaller, and yeah, that's kind of the extent I know about it. But it's so cool that basically, if you do hard things, you can continue to do hard things, and that you don't want to do, and you will continue to kind of be better at doing hard things next time. Why do I keep seeing this? I don't want to interrupt whatever this is. You know what I mean? Like, oh, sorry guys, didn't mean to invade there. Getting some wacky looks from the locals. They don't like me. They know I'm different. Slightly different. I'm an ugly looking guy, aren't I? So yeah, how long do we have left? 12 minutes. 12 and a half minutes. So yeah, so that's the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. The next thing I wanted to talk about, dopamine. So in dopamine, I've got a little note here. The effort is the reward. So if you do cheap, hard things, most people think dopamine is what you get after you win. Instead, that's not how it works. Dopamine is the anticipation of doing something, not a reward you get after you do it. And hard things shift the curve of wanting things in an interesting way. So if you do cheap, hard things, like scrolling for hours, then finally finishing a task, your dopamine crashes. If you do expensive, hard things, like ice baths or heavy lifting, your baseline dopamine level actually rises over several hours, which is really good. So that means that your anticipation to do things rises, which is great. That's what you want, right? Because then if you're doing something boring, like work, then you can kind of enjoy it, right? It's the same thing as the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, except with dopamine, it kind of happens more immediately, which is really good. But if you feel the dopamine of scrolling and then you do it, your dopamine level, that baseline, it's going to be harder to do things that you want to do. Also, another thing is with dopamine spikes, which is what you get every time you're about to scroll, watching a reel, oh, I'm bored of it, oh, I can scroll, dopamine hit, scroll. The more spikes you have within a time frame, the quicker your focus decreases. Whereas if you stare at a wall for 30 minutes, that baseline increases and your focus just sustains, which is really good to know. I learnt that from a video I watched yesterday of this great guy who does content for e-commerce, but he also does other more general content like that. And he's called Mark Builds Brands. I really like his stuff. And he stared at a wall for 30 minutes for 30 days, which is pretty cool. Good kind of thing to learn from there. So yeah, it's all quite boring. The stuff about dopamine is interesting, but it's not that crazy. And at the end of the day, the best advice to give is to just push through the pain, because it will be easier. And I think if you have if you're averse to pain, if you hate pain, life's going to be tough no matter how smart you are. If you like pain, life's going to be easy, but you're probably a bit weird, and you're probably going to experience more pain in a different way that you probably wouldn't like emotional pain from maybe feeling lonely because other people aren't like you. I'm not trying to project. I don't think that's me. I think I'm, more normal, which is good. I do just see the benefit in doing what I want to do and doing this hard stuff, which is great. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. We've got some short grass. I kind of don't want this in here. It's just kind of annoying, taking up space. Guys, what should the house be? Let's get to Minecraft, because we've been yapping for a bit. What should the house be? And what should our goal be for the series? Let's check that everything's working still. Yeah, we're still recording, which is good. So, for the series, I'm thinking the goal could be beating the Wither. Beating the Ender Dragon's pretty easy. I could probably do that in a few episodes, to be fair, which is quite cool. But yeah, what do you think? Beating the Wither? I think that's a good one. We could do devoted episodes to like going to the stronghold and stuff, going to the Nether Fortress, should I say, and then like, I'm yapping less. But yeah, also, what do you guys want me to talk about? I don't have all the answers. I'm actually, I don't really know much about dopamine. I had to. Well, I do. That's the problem. I've heard so many different things, which is why I wanted to do a little video today explaining about things. Yeah, things like wall staring is so good. As an example, I wouldn't wall stare because I'd just rather do work. But yeah, it's so important to be bored rather than just be stimulated all the time. It's completely wrong. And you just won't gain from the stimulation because you'll just be stimulated for the sake of being stimulated, and you won't actually take in any of the stuff you're listening to. That Enderman's trying to be a sheep, and now he's gone. Okay. Let's go down to breed the sheep. What have I been up to today? Because that's kind of all I had to talk about. We've got 6 minutes. What have I been up to today? I spent the day working on something very interesting. Something very interesting indeed. Working on the business, not in the business. I have been working on a specific... I can read them from out here, that's very useful. I don't get the love icons. Maybe I think it's because I've reduced icons on, just because the game was kind of freezing and I was like, I don't want this to happen. So I turned them off to make sure that it wouldn't freeze. And it's playing ball, which is good. But yeah, I was doing something really interesting. So my business, for those who don't know, is web design. Right now, I do web design. I definitely want to go into e-commerce. I spent a lot of time doing e-commerce, but it was very expensive. It is a very expensive industry for good reason, because it's a good industry. But it has just has a higher floor to get into, whereas the reason why is because you have to pay for ads. You're leveraging, you're getting paid for skills, but in web design you're also getting paid for skills, but you're leveraging your time. You're exchanging your time. In e-commerce, it's a more it's a better business model for making money, because you exchange time for upfront and skills upfront for repeated customers just from setting up a funnel kind of one time. And you do have to, keep on top of things, but the gain is really good, and scaling is just more about putting numbers up, less about having to hire more employees, because you don't have that time factor. It's upfront time, but it's not like repeated time, and there isn't a time cost to delivery. That's what I'm trying to say. There's an upfront time cost, but there isn't a time cost for delivery. Your customer actually spends more time delivering the product than you do when they click buy. So, but yeah, I do web design. Sorry, I'm yapping. And what does that mean? What am I trying to say? I'm talking about, okay, yeah, so I have 3 channels of getting clients through email outreach, emailing businesses, texting businesses on Facebook DMs, and calling up businesses on their phone numbers. For the email, I was working the email today. I'm leveraging AI to automate as much as I can and to personalize as much as I can. Because the problem is with email, before AI, if you wanted to get a client, if you wanted to do enough volume of emails to get a client every day, you need to have 20 mailboxes that send 25 messages a day, 25 to 50 messages a day, and then you either get 500 to 1,000 messages a day, emails out a day. And 1,000 emails is about how many you need to get one closed client. So one client that actually pays you money. So the with getting that amount of outreach before to be able to obtain to do that kind of outreach, you would have needed to not personalize. You would have needed to generalize. It would have needed to be one email that works for all these companies. However, with AI, you can automate it. So AI writes up a fully personalized email for every single email that you send. And yes, it's expensive, but yes, it's effective. And that's why I'm doing it. I'm making a thing that, a workflow that at the start, it goes through my lead sheet, and for every lead, it does the following. It first sees if it has a website. If it has a website, it scrapes the website. So it takes all the data off the website and takes a screenshot of the website so the AI can see if it's a good one or a bad one, or if it's not sure yet, and then it takes even more data, more screenshots until it can tell if it's sure. If it doesn't have a website, we search up the name on Google. If we can find the website, then we scrape the website. Another thing we scrape from the website is the email. We take the email from the website and then we send them an email and basically say what we think about their website. If we have an email, but we have no website, then we say, you don't have a website. This is why you should get a website. If their website doesn't load, then instead of the whole workflow crashing, because that's what would kind of happen, like they have a website, but it crashes, right? So what then? We say, you have a website, but it crashes. Can we make you a new one? And our offer is, we'll make it completely upfront, zero obligation, with zero upfront cost to you. And if you like it, you can pay. If you don't like it, we disappear forever and you've only lost 10 minutes of your time. Does that sound fair? That's what we say. So that's a pretty damn good offer. I'm working on an email chain that automates as much as possible. So we're going to keep going down the pipeline. Like, even when they reply, we're going to go like, can AI reply to this? The answer is probably going to be yes. If not, we'll ask or go to a human, but AI can reply, keep the replies going. It means I get to spend my time on stuff that actually matters, and AI is cheap if you compare it to like an employee who would reply. So that's really good. That's been really, really fun, and it's so techy. And so if anyone's interested in getting into AI automation, please send me a message. Or if you have any questions, it is really good to get into. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of everything I have today. I don't really know. We bred the sheep. That's good. A little bit of inbreeding never hurt anyone. It probably did, so don't take that from me. We could make a saddle. That could be interesting. Getting a horse, doing maybe even more exploring. What does it take to make a saddle? Here we are. Oh, nothing. That's fantastic. Let's get some leather. Are we done? Are we out of time? 15 seconds left. Thank you guys very much for watching. There was no episode yesterday because I was super tired and the recording wasn't working and it was really annoying. So that was the reason. Please let me know what kind of topics you want me to talk about. Let me know what you're doing in your business journey. Let's just start a discussion going. Let me know what you want me to build the house as. What should the house be? Should our objective be going to beat the Wither? Because the thing is, after we beat the Wither, I want to do something really wacky and quirky, like build some cool thing related to bizcraft only. That could be our goal, like the beacon of bizcraft. That's a great idea, the beacon of bizcraft, and we'll make that, and it can be a representative of something. I also maybe want to build like a mega business mind map, like business in 2026 mind map, where out of signs and all sorts, I can basically like build a physical thing that explains like how different parts of business interrelate. It's so nitty, but I think it could help you guys out. It would help me out for sure. Visualizing different aspects of business I find is really helpful. So yeah, please let me know if you have any business questions. Ask me in the comments below, and yeah, thank you very much for listening.